Hello and welcome. I'm Alan Thompson, the hardest working realtor in West Volusia. And today I'm here with my friend Allison. Allison, can you tell me a little bit about what you do and why we're talking today?
Alan, we're here today because I was aware that you have this wonderful program where you share about community businesses and community programs, and I wanted to be part of that because I do want to get the word out about some of the wonderful work our nonprofit Building a Caring Community is doing through our mentoring program called ACTS Mentoring Program. And also, you know that I do have a business, and I thought I'd share a little bit about that in these times of pandemic and so much social unrest. I think that how there's quite a call for people to speak about depression and anxiety and the things that many people are struggling with just due to the nature of the season that we're in.
Absolutely. So real quick, touch base on what it is your business does, because I think that's really important.
Okay. I have a private practice. I'm a psychotherapist licensed in the state of Florida. I've been doing private practice for over 20 years, seeing individuals, families, young adults, children. And I primarily work with people who are struggling with mood disorders such as anxiety or depression, and then taking on maybe some issues that are related to the situations they find themselves in. If you've never been depressed, wait, there will be a day. And if you've never been anxious, that's coming too. I think it's just part of the human condition. Everybody handles it differently. Some people handle it in very healthy ways. Not everybody needs to see a therapist to handle it. Please, I'm not saying that therapy is the only way to go. I think you are able to manage those dysregulations in your mood much better if you have a healthy lifestyle as a baseline. If you have connection to family, friends, faith, healthy eating, healthy activity lifestyle, you really are very protected, not against the onslaught of distress or negative circumstances. I mean, that comes to everyone, whether it's a loss, a death, or disappointment, or these things happen to everybody. But I think that how you're in a much better shape to handle it if you've already been doing good self-care, if you've already got good support systems in your life, you know, be they people or values or faith, all those things together are really good in terms of protective factors. Unfortunately, there are lots of people who don't have those things or have them in just small quantities or have lost them through various situations. And at that time, sometimes they need some additional help. And that's when I'll get a call. I'll get a call from somebody who has done well all their life, but then something has happened. Loss of a spouse, loss or children just going a little crazy on them and not knowing what to do, loss of economic circumstances. So we're here to, myself and other therapists, we're here to support people during those times for me, I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. And the way I support as a therapist is by providing tools that will help people navigate those dysregulations and emotions, you know, kind of reconnecting them back to the things maybe that once kept them healthy, that maybe they've lost track of, or helping them develop new coping skills to be able to navigate these uncertain times. And with that, I kind of see them and coach them through some of it. And once I see that they've got it and it's going okay and their moods have shifted and it's a little bit more stable, then we say goodbye and I wish them well. And, you know, and that's my job. My job is to have my clients no longer need me, which I love. I love to discharge people in a positive place. They come into me very distressed, and I love when they leave and they say, well, Allison, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without your intervention at this point in my life. So that's my full profit. I've done that for over 20 years.
That's fantastic. And one of the things that I really appreciate about you in the conversations that we've had is you're truly a non-biased. You're a median a medium ground. You know, you don't lean one way or the other. We each have our beliefs, but you don't let those interfere with your ability to help people. And I think that's just an amazing thing. Tell me more now about ACTS, because that's really impressive too.
Oh, ACTS. ACTS is my baby. I love ACTS. ACTS, by the way, ACTS, stands for a candle to shine, which is coming from a scripture that says, in Matthew says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven. So we are a faith-based mentoring program. And when I say that, I always like to let people know it's not that we beat people over the head with the Bible or the gospel. I strongly believe in God. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I'm strongly committed to my faith. But I meet people wherever they are, whether they have a faith that they follow or whether they say, well, I don't know what to believe in. And our program is for anybody. The one thing I say is that how everything that we do is in alignment with Judeo-Christian values. So if you're not in alignment with those values, you may have a little bit of a problem with it. But I think most people are, whether they acknowledge it or not, because so many of the things that we admire in terms of characteristics and so forth come through as Judeo-Christian values. So, I mean, there'll be people who have no faith, but they'll say, I think Jesus was a good man. Oh, well, good. Then you agree with the values that he espoused, which is loving people and serving and being able to really just bring people to their healthiest, optimal living. And a lot of what we do really just aligns with that. So regardless of whatever faith you come from, there's really nothing that, shouldn't be offensive about it, because again, it's about bringing these young girls to a place where they are living their optimal lives, kind of seeking out their purpose, being directed to be world changers, to be people who are not influenced as much as influential in a positive way. So ACTS, A Candle to Shine, has been around since 2009. I can't believe it's been over 10 years as yet. 20 years, right? 2009?
11 years. Right?
11 years, okay, yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Let's not make ourselves older than we are.
That's it. I didn't go into this field because of my math skills, okay? Quite the opposite. So what we do is our girls meet together. It's a group mentoring, which is very different from individual mentoring. When I mention mentors, people tend to think, oh, you'll assign a person, a mentor to that individual child. No, that's a different type of mentoring. There's value in that. And I have some wonderful people that I know who do individual mentoring, and it's wonderful that they commit to one or two children, and that's awesome. But what we do is we do group mentoring. The reason I like to do group mentoring is because we get to see the girls, and it's only girls. ACTS mentoring program is a girls program, ages 8 through 18. We get to see girls in their social habitat, their social settings. And you learn so much when you see girls interact together. I mean, we're quietly observing while we're guiding and directing, and we see the way they communicate. We see the way they problem solve. We see the way they manage challenges, personal challenges and social dynamic challenges. And if you know anything about little girls, Alan, is that how they are, for the most part, social creatures. And they are, with some exceptions, they blossom when they're feeling like they're part of a community together.
Absolutely.
And we bring out all the girls in there, some that are more extroverted, there's some that are more introverted, some are very artistic, some are very cerebral, and we value all their qualities because there's a place in the group for everything. And I think they love that because they see they don't have to be like anybody else. As a matter of fact, we really emphasize the value of uniqueness, that like Baskin and Robbins, 31 flavors, God didn't create one or two flavors, and he delights in every one of the flavors, so we like the girls to know whatever it is you have, that's what God gave you, and let's figure out a way that you could, in a healthy way, give it back to him.
I think that's extraordinary. And I think that I love the Baskin Robbins reference. That's awesome. But I think that this is really, really important right now, especially as some of us that have seen don't necessarily remember our 18th birthday because it was a while back. You know, last year we talked about the fact that all of these kids are always on their cell phone and they're not socializing, they're not taking part. And then this year we look around and we're going, stay 6 feet away and get on your cell phone so that you don't get in close contact with anybody else. So I think that that's really added value into what you're doing right now. Can you tell me how you got started in this?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I think God just directs in such strange ways. As a therapist, I would see adolescents in therapy, and there was, regardless of the reason that they were brought to therapy, whether the guidance counselor suggested or the parent brought them in because maybe the family was having a divorce or whatever, it didn't matter how they came in. I started to see this one theme, regardless of whether they were being diagnosed with adjustment disorder, anxiety, or depression. They all complained about peer relationships. At some point or the other, we would have that conversation, and they would talk about, well, I feel isolated, I feel rejected by my friends, I don't think I know how to make friends, or I feel like my friends some way abuse me, or, you know, there would be something related to their peer relationships. And of course, I would work with them in terms of assessing what was going on and, you know, helping them maybe change their mindset about certain things, or experiment and be brave. And, you know, have you gone up to, you know, somebody and said, hey, can I sit here at the table with you, if seeing you're feeling so alone? So I'd give them things to do, and they would come back to me and say, well, it worked or it didn't work, and so forth. And I realized I wish I could see them in real time to understand what was going on. I wish I could sit in the cafeteria with this little kid and see what is it that makes him feel like nobody likes him. You know, I'm seeing this really wonderful kid in front of me, nothing offensive in him. I'm thinking to myself, is it his perception, or is the school system so difficult, or what is going on with these kids? Well, one day I was in my office, and a young lady came to my office, just walked in, and she asked me if I had some time to talk with her. And it just so happened I had, I don't know, maybe somebody had canceled, and I was just sitting. I was like, okay, fine. What's going on? And she shared with me her heart about wanted to influence young people. She felt that they needed something, but she didn't know where to get started. And I thought to myself, oh, I see the same thing you're seeing. I'm seeing it from my perspective as a therapist. So I gave her a little bit of advice, and I said, if you need any help, please let me know, because I share, you know, that concern. Well, she came back and she got back with me. She said, well, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a mentoring program and so forth. And I said, well, let me help you any way I can. And she came back and we sat together, and together we designed the program. So I'd love to say it was my brilliant idea, but no, I had a concern, but I didn't have a medium by which to address that concern outside of my office. And again, not every kid needs therapy. Some kids just need some guidance. So I started with her, and circumstances changed, and she had something else going on, and that took her attention. And I had to debate, do I still want to continue on my own? It really started with us together. And I just felt God said, listen, the concern is still there. You could keep this going. So that's basically how it got started. The faith aspect of it is because in my private practice, you know, I'm a Christian counselor, but in my private practice, you know, there's a little bit more of a sense of, you know, some boundaries and parameters that, you know, you don't really go into. And I thought, well, you know, in my nonprofit, outside of my, I don't want to feel like I'm constrained. You know, I believe so strongly in the value of loving God and allowing Him to guide and direct my life. I didn't want to take up time with trying to work around that. So we just put it out there. It's a faith-based mentoring program. And, you know, people are fine with that. They accept it. But it allows me, you know, the kids and the families know when they come that everything that we're doing is going to align itself with like I said, Judeo-Christian values. So that's kind of how we got started. And as we moved along, I have a firm belief that as we try to meet other people's needs, a lot of our needs get met. So service is a big quality for me. I've always served in church and in secular organizations and different things. That's just part of my ethos, and maybe that's why I became a social worker, because I've always felt that I'm put here to, there's a problem out there that I was put to serve, to solve. And everybody, Alan, you're solving problems every day. Everybody has problems out there that they were meant to influence and somehow serve and help. So I wanted to instill that in my girls. I wanted them to understand that, yes, I'm concerned about you. Yes, your issues are real. And yes, you know, when that little boy broke up with you and it broke your heart, that was a real heartache and so forth. But how have you served today? What else is going on in the world? I mean, your purpose is greater than that one relationship that broke up that's really tearing you up right now. And I find that the girls do so much better when they're looking at other people and saying, oh, wait a second, I have value, I have worth, because I am using what God has given me in the way He intended me to use it. And look, other people are really understanding my worth and my value through the service I've given to them in whatever way, whether it's a piece of art, whether it's teaching them how to do a little bit of origami at a fair, or whatever it is that we're learning to do. I find that how it helps move them away from themselves and into an idea that there's a bigger world. Long answer to a short question.
No problem. That's wonderful. I think it's a perfect answer. And so tell me, if people want to help, what do you need help with? Or can we help the community help you out in some way, shape, or form? Are you trying to grow? What's going on in that aspect? How can we help?
Yeah, I would love for more young people to be aware of the value of group mentoring. I would love people to be aware of ACTS and what we're able to do in the community. I think we're the best kept secret out there. I don't think a lot of people know about us. And our normal means of getting the word out has been limited because of social distancing and different things. So I appreciate this opportunity to brag on my girls and brag on our program. We've served the community for many years, and I do mean serve. I mean, lots of community service hours, but we do it happily and cheerfully. And the high school students get community service credit too, so which is really good, works towards scholarships. And the girls just grow. They just grow and just value themselves and just feel so much better. It lifts their self-esteem. So I want people to know about that, the value of being in a mentorship program, whether it's mine or others. There are many other ones out there, but there's great value to it. And I would love to see more girls in my program. Middle and high school girls are wonderful for this program.
And so we can spread the word through Facebook, because you have a Facebook page, correct?
Correct. You could look at ACTS Mentoring Program. We have a Facebook page. And I also, on that Facebook page, I like to share information about other youth programs, because our program can't serve every need for every child in the community. So when I hear about backpack giveaways or food drives or art programs or dance programs that would serve young people, I get that information, I disseminate it on ACTS Mentoring Program side, because I want girls, young people in general, but I specifically focus on girls. I want them to be engaged. I want them to be engaged in their community. I don't want their world to be a screen. You know, I don't want it just to be the limits of the screen or the small screen that they're on. I want them to see a large, big, beautiful world. I'm a bit of a world traveler. I've lived in other countries. I've lived in the Netherlands. I've traveled Europe twice. I've done a lot of things overseas. And I will sometimes tell my kids stories about it, and they'll say, no, Miss Allison, you didn't do that. I said, yes, I did, and you can too. This little girl from the Caribbean who grew up in Brooklyn, who were, grew up poor, and, but I saw a big world, and I always knew the world was bigger than Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I knew it was bigger than that. So I wanted to see it, so I traveled. And as a matter of fact, can I tell you something really exciting that I did?
Absolutely.
Because COVID-19 has limited our ability to do other things, I asked my girls, and this is the way our programs really work. I said to my girls, hey, what are we going to do? This is what we're stuck with. We're stuck with Zoom. We can't see each other. We can't make little craft things to give to the nursing homes. We can't do any of that. What can we do? So they threw around a couple of ideas, and they said, well, is there any way that we could meet with other kids? And I thought, well, yeah. I said, how about we meet with kids from across the world? They were like, how are we going to do that? I said, well, I have contacts all over the world. So I contacted my contacts in different countries, and I said, can we find a middle schooler or a high schooler who would like to do a cultural exchange with my girls? So they had their first one last month. They met with a girl their age who is from the island of Tobago, and they got to hear all about the food and the culture and what the school system is like, and they asked questions back and forth about what's different in America versus there. It was so fascinating. I mean, I thought it would be like a half an hour interview, and the girls couldn't get off the line with each other. As soon as I said, okay, well, that was very interesting. Now we have to, they said, I have another question. And they would go on and down another track. But it was so fascinating for them to see the world through the eyes of a young girl their age living on an island. You know, and they were like, oh my God, that's paradise, you know? And she was like, well, yeah, I don't even go to the beach. You know, the beach is, I walk out my door to the beach, but I don't really go. And they were like, what? So it was very fascinating. And we have some other trips lined up. We have somebody in Lyon, France, and we have somebody in Germany, and I have somebody working on Kenya for me right now, and another person working on Peru. So I'm trying to get them, my goal this year is to get them all over the world, if I can.
That's awesome. So how often are you planning on doing that? Do you have a plan for?
Well, I'd like them to go to one country a month, but if I get a lot more people, I will, you know, we'll just make that our thing this year. COVID is not going to stop us. We are going to travel. Even if we do armchair traveling, we're going to travel.
So if some of my viewers or some of your viewers who didn't know about this, if they know somebody, if they have a contact that they can set you up with, can they reach out through your Facebook page or through your email contact or telephone, which I'll leave in the comments section below? Can they do that to hook you up with somebody?
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And I do emphasize, I want young ladies the same age as my girls, because I want them to see the world through the eyes of somebody their own age. And
that age group again is?
It's middle to high school, by like maybe 13 to 18 or something like that. So they could really, you know, of course, I said, you know, there has to be English speaking because my girls don't speak a different language. And they have to have, you know, internet access so that we'll be able to do a Zoom link. And then they spend half an hour to an hour, as long as it takes, exchanging information about entertainment, food, culture, whatever it is that they're interested in at that particular time. I want them to see that the world is much larger than the limits put on them or the limits put on them by COVID.
What a great concept. Well, Allison, thank you very much for joining me. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, or did we cover?
Well, I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to talk about my program, the Program Acts Mentoring Program. I'd love to talk to anybody else about it, and I appreciate the opportunity, Alan.
Perfect. I appreciate you coming on, and it was a pleasure visiting with you today. Thanks again. And like I said, I'm going to leave your contact information in the comments section somewhere. It'll be either above or below the video, however that's going to work in the particular medium that we're using, but or on the channel that we're using. But real quick, why don't you go ahead and share that just in case.
Okay. All right. So again, you could reach us with our nonprofit program. We're a 501c3. It's called Building a Caring Community Incorporated. And the website is www.acaringcommunity.com. Facebook, you would reach us at Axe Mentoring Program, and our telephone number is 386, and I always get this confused. It's, I think, 837-1772. I hope I got that right. Otherwise, I'll give you the right number to you, Alan, and then you put it in someplace. So you can get a hold of me either through the website, www.caringcommunity.com, or the Facebook page. Certainly, you can contact me through there, or the telephone number that Alan will share with you in a few minutes. So any of those things. If you have a young girl who's interested in our program, we'd love to have her. We're going to have an exciting year. And if you're interested in donating, let's say that, let's put that out there. We do accept donations. We are a nonprofit, so all donations are tax deductible. And we do use those donations to be able to allow the girls to have greater experiences, whether it's museums or college trips or something like that. We will use those donations. And there's no salary. Nobody has a salary. It's a full nonprofit. And I am one of the mentors, and I have another wonderful mentor, Miss Joy. And we just love our girls, and we just want to see them grow to be bright, beautiful, healthy individuals who are changing the world.
Very inspiring. Thank you again for your time, Allison. It's been wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, guys.